Welcome, everybody, to the quick little training on support and resistance, how I draw them, which specific ones I draw. I'm going to mute you really quickly. Which ones I draw. Supply and demand, I won't be going too deep into that. I'll just quickly um, point out how I would draw them, at least when I used to use them. I haven't used them in months. Personally, I just like my charts to be clean as possible, and the supply and demand zones kind of make them a little obnoxious, especially with broadening formations, which I'll actually go over a little bit as well. So I will put that out there. Anyway, let me share my screen. Yeah, so this will just be support and resistance, how I draw them or where I draw them. Um, Supply and demand, I'll go over it a little bit. Like I said, I haven't used them in a while, so I'm only really going to be talking about how I would draw them and where I would place them. And we'll go from there. And then broadening formations for those who use the strat. I know some people sometimes get confused on how to draw them or where to draw them. We'll go over that as well. And if you guys can hear my screen, you can give me a yes or you can come off mute. Cool. All right, so I'll go over support and resistance. So support and resistance is essentially just areas where the price is being rejected at or being bought up at. So for example, and this could be found on any time frame. Me specifically, I use the 1 hour and the 4 hour, and I just label them out. So for example, on the 4 hour, and I'll speak a little more about them in a bit, but just for the sake of now. So on the 4 hour, pretty straightforward. Just get my horizontal ray tool. There's one resist or support, second one, and then I just keep on going down the list or down the candles at least. Now, I don't like having a million lines on my charts. So depending what I'm trading, I'll maybe put support and resistance like 10 to 20 points away. So if it was here, I'll probably keep it going maybe something like this, about 10 points away from the current price. Because if I were to draw every single one, there'll be way too much happening. And then for resistance, pretty straightforward. Just on the top of the previous candles. Now, I mainly day trade. So I'm taking trades intraday, which means like I'm in and out within the same day. So I use the 1 hour and the 4 hour support and resistances, mainly because I don't really swing trade and stuff like that. And I already have my broadening formations to go over that as well, which is why I don't really go too crazy with my support and resistance lines. I kind of just have them there. So for when I'm trading intraday, I can know, let's just say before today happened, we got 1 hour support there. The next one is here. Next one is there. So if I'm trading intraday, at least I mainly use the strat. So the way I use this is going to be very, very different. So if I were to just base my trades off the 1 hour in this example, the price gaps down. We break the support from yesterday, and then the next candle they tap this support, bring it back up. They try to take it back up, fail, and where I personally would enter would be on this candle here, on this 2-2 down, off the rejection of this old support, which is now resistance. Something to notice or remember as well. Once a level was broken and it gets retested like this, it's no longer support. It's going to turn into a resistance. And if that makes sense, let me know. If not, I'll continue. Cool. And the higher the time frame, the stronger the support or the resistance is going to be for the most part. And what I recommend if you are new to charting and stuff like that, I recommend that you label all of your lines so you don't get confused on which one is which. I already know which ones are which just by experience, but it's a great practice to just uh, label them all. So if you're using TradingView, you just double click 4-hour support. Well, it's resistance now, but 4-hour support, boom. Well, this is actually on the 1-hour and the 4-hour. And if it is on more than one time frame, you could just do 1-hour, 4-hour support, whatever works best for you. And if you do use TradingView, somebody had a question? Guess not. If you do use TradingView, on the right side right here, object tree, you can click on that, and it'll show you all of your lines. So let's just say for this one, if I wanted to just group all of my 4-hour supports, click on the, whatever line or whatever you use, right up here, create a group of drawings. You could just label this 4-hour supports. And then this one, oh, yeah, this is why it's always good to label them. All right, well, this 4-hour. So let's just bring this up here. So yeah, if you ever want to turn them all off at the same time, you can do that in a really, really quick way as opposed to going one by one. It's really obnoxious. Making sense so far? Any questions? Cool. So again, just for support and resistance, it's going to be levels where the price is rejecting. So to give you a little more, at least a better example of it, let's just say this level right here. Actually, let's delete everything to make it cleaner. Let's say this is resistance. So this level here, we came up, tested it, came back down, retested it, failed, and the sellers, the buyers weren't strong enough to break through. So we come back down, chop a bit, does what it needs to do, comes back up, tries to break through again. The sellers were too strong again, and the buyers didn't have enough. The buyers didn't have enough strength to keep it up. So then we get rejected, come back down. And when it tested it again this time, the buyers finally got enough strength to break through and stay above. And something to note as well, the more a specific level gets tested, the weaker it is. Because let's just say it hit here, rejects. Let's say you have 100 people with sell orders up here. When you hit this and they reject, let's say 25 of them got filled for their sell order and then it came back down. Then the people who were still waiting to be filled, they got filled here, they bring it back down. Now, let's just say there's only 50 or 25 people left waiting for their orders to be filled. But this time, since this level is weaker and there's a lot more buyers, it's going to break through that with ease. And on top of that, if there were a lot of sellers, they're going to get squeezed up, especially if they weren't enough to hold it down. So they're getting squeezed up here. And then similar to support level, remember, this was resistance, which now became support. So we go up, come down, we retest this area. They brought it back up, chop around, come back down, try to bring it down, bring it right back up. Then again, another test, come up. And as you can see, the buyers that were supposed to be there that probably got filled on these two candles, they weren't here to save it again. They got demolished. So now we broke that support, which again becomes resistance. Let me know if that's making sense. Type in the chat, come on, voice, whatever you want. Doesn't matter. All righty, moving on. So, and there's some videos in the educational center in the video section that go more in detail about support and resistance. I'm just keeping it simple as I can for now. Now, supply and demand. Let's see, I can probably find this example. So I would usually draw them before on the 65 and 4-hour chart. Sometimes daily if I were to swing, but usually 65 and 4-hour. Although I only really use it for 65, not 65 minutes. I mainly use it for about a month. I didn't really care too much about it, so I won't. You're welcome. I only use it for a little bit, so I won't go into too much detail about it. However, last night or this morning, somebody sent me a lot of information about supply and demand and like the reason why price would reject at certain levels and things like that. I'm just gonna make a PDF to just condense everything, and I'll just post it in the same message when I post the replay, and that I'll probably get that out by tomorrow night. So with supply and demand, it's more of an area as opposed to like a specific like line, like support and resistance. So what I mainly look for, or looked for at least, was candles that are kind of basing out at a specific level. And then I would just do something like this. Get that top, and then just bring it over. You guys can hear me? My computer froze for a sec.
Yeah, your audio is good.
Cool. Let me keep on just bringing this back. So this should be the supply level. Can I? Whoops. So supply, and then I guess for the sake of the combo, technically I would probably do something like this for demand. Although the range is pretty tight, so I will probably do something like this for the demand area. And this is, I forget exactly why, but again, I'm just going to post the PDF out with all the information. I'm not going to speak too much on supply and demand. This is more so just how I used to draw them. I would look for candles like this, big candles with an inside bar. The candles, again, are based out, and they're just wicks. So I'll draw from there to the base and then just drag it over. And let me know if you guys can hear me. My computer froze again.
Yeah, it's all good.
Cool. Let me just connect this real quick. This might help. All right, cool. So let's just say this will be demand, but this will be more better demand for me. I wouldn't really make it that tight. So supply level, they came back up from this area. They sold it back out of it. I'll get rid of this because this will be a little confusing. So from my remembrance of it, you're looking to buy in the demand zones and of course sell in the supply zones, and you just trade the areas. And of course you can always just draw some more in different zones. So I will probably draw one here as well. Let's bring that over for later. This will be what, supply. Cool. So let's just say you got in here, they shredded you back down, brought back up, you get sold out of the supply zone, and we have this old demand zone here, which is, as you can see, we die down, As soon as it taps it, whoever was waiting for their buy orders quickly bought it up, but then they got shorted back down. They tried to save it here, which they did. All the buyers that were waiting in this zone and probably around here bought it up. They go to retest the supply zone. Whoever bought down here is probably going to be selling in this area. Plus the sellers that are waiting here to bring it back down. So whoever bought here, they're going to be selling in this area, which causes sell-off back down. They go back up. This time, whoever was waiting to sell, there wasn't that many, broke through. We go to retest the next supply zone, which is up here, as you can see. Get some selling pressure. Bought it back up the next day, sold it back down, retested one more time, and then just demolished back down into the now demand zone, which was the old supply zone, which they bought up here. Whoever bought up at this breakout, they missed their fill. They want to get back in, boom, launch it back up. And now we're back in the demand zone, which if it breaks tomorrow, this will more than likely be a supply zone again. And we'll see what happens. Making sense? Yes, no, kind of? Oh, I'll take the silence as a yes. Or maybe you guys are just confused. Either way, we can fix that. So the third part, since again, this training was going to be relatively simple. For those who use the strat, which is the strategy that I use for my trading, we, as strat users, we don't really use supply and demand or support and resistance. All we use are broadening formations, which are support and resistance for strat users. Personally, since I used to be a support and resistance trader, I kind of just incorporate it with my broadening formations. It just helps me. But of course, if you want to use a strat fully, you wouldn't be doing that. So really quickly, when it comes to broadening formations, you need to draw them on every single time frame. For me, I do on the 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. And again, use your object tree just to make your life easier, because if you don't have everything labeled, it's going to be really annoying to turn them off. So on the 4 hour for IWM, I usually start from the most recent and then keep on going back. Although sometimes I'll start from the back and go forward. So I'll start from the back and go forward just to show you guys an example when it comes to using the strat and broader formations and how they work as support and resistance. So right here, if I were to just connect these two dots without even looking at anything that's going on here, everything from like this candle here and onward, forget about that for now. And then I'll draw another one here. You can do it to this 2 or to this 3, whatever works. So let's just say in these 2 days, I drew the broadening formations just on this area here. As we can see on the bottom side, the price here touches the bottom before reversing back up. So as strat users, you're going to be looking for reversal signals or actionable signals when it reaches the top or the bottom of a BF. In this case, we came back down, chopped around, triggered back up, rejected right here, came back down, didn't quite touch it, came back up, tested it, broke it, tested the bottom, couldn't hold, broke below, came back up to test again, failed on this candle. Then once more, they tried to break through. They couldn't. So if this was me, I'll be looking for this right here, this 3-1. Granted, this gap down, but you will take the trade here. If you're a strat user, you know what this means. I won't go into too much detail because that's for another video, and there's a lot more out there. So this 3-1-2 down, you will get the short trigger. And again, when you get your reversals off the top of a broadening formation, you're going to be aiming for the lower broadening formation of the same time frame. So as we can see here, we get the 3-1-2 down reversal from the top of the broadening formation on the 4-hour. We go down, chop around, hit the bottom, and then we just come back up. And more than likely, this would be another zone there. Now, you don't have to draw them from the 3s to the 3s. That's just how I do it for the most part. I do like to keep my BFs a little cleaner, because if I were drawing them how I usually don't like to, but you're supposed to, you will be doing stuff like this. And something to note, if your broadening formations and your chart doesn't look like a spider web by the time you're done, you're not doing it right. Something to take a note of. And again, the higher the time frame for the BFs, the stronger they are. Keep that in mind as well. So on the daily, and again, please mark off which ones they are, because it can get starts to get confusing on which is which. And to show you guys, well, before I go to something else, is that making sense so far about broadening formations and how to draw them, stuff like that?
It's making sense.
Sweet. Cool. So again, I'm gonna show you an example where I would take a trade, and when as a strat user, what you're gonna be looking for using broadening formations and the strat. One sec. PayPal. Cool. So from the other day, I think on Monday or Sunday, I posted this in the Strat Academy section, where off this daily BF that was drawn from this point to this point, we get an actionable signal, which is a hammer, and we take it up. So whoever got in those calls on Monday, you should have hit 200% at the very least from this move. There's almost 8 points in your direction. Granted, we did gap up, so it will be something like this. And now based on the strat, our ultimate target would be up here. However, we kind of just trade what we see. If you haven't taken profit yet, then you need to go back to the drawing board, because it hit the first target here. It didn't quite hit the second target here. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll go on one time frame lower. One second, let me actually mark this down to make sense. So on the daily time frame, daily trigger. This way, it kind of just gets easier for you to notice things. This is the TP1 daily, and I'll just keep that for now. So sometimes if it's a higher time frame, I'll get a starter position and then wait for a TTO on a smaller time frame, which is another whole training. So right here on the 4-hour, which would actually be the daily and the 4-hour trigger at the same time. Oops. For the 4-hour, there's your TP1. And then TP2 on the 4-hour is the daily TP1. So if they sync up, I'll just do this and 4-hour. That way I know. So if you miss this initial move from here to here, you can wait for this 2-1-2 up continuation on the 4-hour, which you would have been a very, very happy person if you caught that. Oh, hold on, I got some chats. Sounds good. When I play futures, so I mainly trade futures on ES. So I have my BFs and my supports and stuff on that specific chart. I don't really, well, if I'm being transparent and honest, I'm just lazy to draw it both on MES and ES, but I don't draw it on MES because I don't trade MES. I just draw them on ES personally. So whatever I'm drawing them on, I'm gonna draw as many as I can without it getting too crazy for me. And of course, I keep all my lines one color just to keep it super, super clean for me. But it is recommended that you color them differently. So then you know, if you're like on the 15-minute chart, oh, this is approaching a daily broadening formation because it's blue. Or if it's a 4-hour, it might be like pink or green or whatever you want. So color coordinating them will definitely help a lot. And let's see what else. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part. For Moderna, I put it in the watch list for tomorrow. Let's bring this up on the daily. So Moderna off the daily broader information, we got a shooter, which is another actionable signal similar to the PayPal one that I showed you guys here on the daily. I personally do not like to trade Moderna because of the contract spreads. However, I may consider shorting equity or just selling some premium on this. But yeah, Moderna, a big watch for tomorrow. I think Meta as well. Yep. So Meta, I don't have my BFs drawn, but let's just draw them now just to as an example. So the 4-hour, let's just say here to here. And then I could do something like there to there. And then let's go on the 1-hour. Cool. I think this was the 1-hour. Yep. So near this 1-hour BF, we're getting a reversal signal back to the downside right here. Something to keep in mind of. And now we see what happens tomorrow. Let's see. All righty. Any other questions or anything else that you guys want to ask? Let me know. Other than that, it's pretty much it. Try to keep it as basic as possible because if I were to go into detail with everything, we'll be here for 10 hours. Cool. You're very welcome. And again, any other questions or just comment on the YouTube. The replay will be up sometime later tonight. Yeah, message me on Discord, the YouTube channel, Reddit, wherever you know me from, whatever works. Anyway, if that's pretty much it, I will bid you guys adieu. Cool. Well, have a great night, everybody. And well, actually, make a beautiful night. And I will talk to you guys later.
All right, man.
Peace.